Welcome back to the Geelong Regional Footy Show. There's been a shuffling of the deck chairs as Luke McCullough has moved from my left to my right, but we're joined by Ben Lavaz, the co-captain of the Geelong Amos, and obviously looking to continue the amazing winning streak when it comes to premierships there at Amos.
Yeah, hopefully. Obviously, a long way to go with the last game, but yeah, it'd be awesome to get 4 in a row, so yeah.
What's the confidence like in the boys coming into this weekend? Like we said, 4th straight flag, you've had a very strong season, especially the second half of the year and into the finals. What's the confidence like in the side?
I think for any game you have to be pretty confident going into a grand final.
Yeah.
Obviously, Torquay are a great side and they've shown that they're a great side throughout the year, and we're under no illusions that we're going to have to bring our best footy, but yeah, obviously the boys are pretty confident if we can play the footy we know we can, that we can get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you being a witness to the team that they will play,
yes.
What are your thoughts? Let's reflect on, and perhaps Ben will be tuning in particularly closely to this, just in case you picked up something that he didn't.
Well, for the grand final for Stars, I cannot pick a winner. Like, I watched Torquay play against Barwon Heads on the weekend. That was that game, and Torquay played a really strong midfield game, and Amo's midfield across the whole field is very strong. So I can't pick a winner, and I've always changed my predictions every week. It was Torquay at the end of the year, then it moved to Amos after their Barwon Heads, when it just keeps changing. So Torquay, when I was speaking to Doc Leeson after the game against Barwon Heads, they're preparing a lot, and they each team's different, so change needs to be made. Barwon Heads is a lot different to how Amos play. So they're in for the preparation. Of course, it's their 3rd grand final appearance since 2012, and they haven't won one in those last 2 appearances, so they'll be very hungry for the win.
Can you tell us more about what you saw on the weekend in terms of what obviously has allowed them to make their way through to the green? Yeah,
well, their run and carry all year has been very good. It was a great challenge Barwon Heads put up against them. It was just that 4th quarter where the margin was pretty close to the whole game, but that 4th quarter, Torquay blew Barwon Heads out of the water, and they deserved it. Barwon Heads didn't really kick properly in the whole game. I think they kicked 11 goals, 17, and then Torquay 16 goals, 12. So it was a strong effort in the end by Torquay. It was simply that Barwon Heads couldn't play 4 quarters worth of footy, and Torquay made use of that and punished Barwon Heads and knocked them out. So Torquay probably were expected to win that game. Maybe not in that way, but yeah, it's good to see them.
Pretty good season all round, Ben, down there at Queen's Park. Obviously, right across the grades, you've got footy terms in.
Yeah, no, it's really encouraging. And even, on the netball side of things as well, getting all 4 grades in. We're really happy with the way that the club's going, and, having young Grossi at centre-half back for us, another junior coming through, little Braden Barnett, who's playing in the Colts grand final. He's probably played 5 or 6 games for us, so even though a few of us older guys are sort of getting to the end of our careers, it's really encouraging that a few of these kids are coming through to keep the club strong and hopefully not drop off too much.
And what's it like for the side as a whole? You've got seniors, reserves, under 18s, and you've got Premier Division netball and A grade, B grade, C grade, all in grand finals. What's that like for you, or the side rather, that you've got pretty good players that are coming to the ranks?
Yeah, I think it goes back to all those people that are doing all the things off the field. You go back to those cliches, but it really is. The club wouldn't be in the position it was if people weren't doing the right things off the field, and that's part of the reason why I came back in the first place. That I could really see that what the club was trying to build, and I was happy to go back to my junior club and help out. So yeah, it's really encouraging, and hopefully for the next 10 years we can be around finals and keep it up.
You mentioned you're being one of the more experienced players. Have you enjoyed the change in roles for you upon your return to Amos, being a mentor to some of the younger players coming through?
Yeah, it is definitely. It's one of those things where I probably want to or could still play in the midfield, but in 5 years' time I'm going to be retired and probably done with footy. But watching, especially this year, a young kid like Blake Sutterby really blossom into the role of taking a really strong midfield position is what you're sort of there for. And I don't have to play through the middle anymore, and the body probably can't last anymore for the full season. So
that's Simon's son, I take it.
It is, yeah.
So pretty good footy genes there, I'd imagine. You'd agree with me on that one. He was a very fine footballer.
Yeah, Simon actually
tells you that.
Or yeah, he does. Yeah, no. He was telling us about his game in the over 40s where he got 1 kick, 1 mark, 1 handball. So the boys were pretty quick to tell him that he lost it after that game. But he does, and he works really hard, and on the field he's probably one of the toughest players I've played with. He just goes in head first to everything, and I think he's only 21 years old, so it's really encouraging to see kids like him come through.
Hey, but I was just going to ask about Torquay, Ben. What is something they do really well? Obviously, they're a big-bodied side. They play that full ground zone a fair bit. What do you think is their strength and something you guys were most not worried about, but most wary of coming into the granny?
I think for anything, it's the midfield battle, which you really have to get on top in that sense. Other than that, I think their back line is really where they get a lot of drive. Guys like Hopper and Gray, Sewell back there, Wormold plays down back. They've got a lot of skillful running players, and I think if you don't stop that part of Torquay's game, it's really going to hurt you. They've got some really good forwards, but if you can sort of get on top in the midfield and the back line, then the forwards for both sides can't really get into the game. So,
do you feel a bit comfortable that you've been able to beat Torquay every game you played, which is the last 2 games you played? You didn't beat them in round 1, but you've been able to beat them the last 2 times you played them. So does that give you a bit of comfort coming into this weekend, that you've sort of got that psychological advantage on them in a sense?
Not really. I think especially being a grand final, you try not to think about past results.
Yeah.
You just try and think about that game in a sense, and what you have to do to get the win. Torquay are going to look hard at the game before and what they feel they did wrong and what they need to change and things that they need to do to stop our game. It's one of those things that you just look at and go, well, these are the things that we want to focus on, and this is what we really need to get right to stop them and to make sure that our game's where it needs to be.
Does the result of this weekend, and I suppose the overall success of having so many teams, both footy and netball, does that in any way impact on GFL ambitions for Amos?
I mean, hopefully. There's a lot of people around the club that have been trying to make the move for quite a while. The under-18s, while they've been in Division 2 the last couple of years, we've always, there's a strong pool of kids coming in behind them. We've always got, like I said, off the field as well, the club's in a really good position, and obviously the on-field results. Hopefully that can, but, it's one of those up in the air things, I guess, at the moment with how AFL Barwon are going to restructure things and how that's going to look, and how it's sort of going to work with promotion, relegation and those sort of things. So, at the moment, it's not really something we've talked about at the club. It could be something the board sort of talked about more, but we're just sort of focusing on playing and hopefully getting a few more premierships over the next few years.
Very good. Look, just before we go, Luke McCullough, put aside the fact that you're sitting next to the co-captain of Amos, Josh Quatermeyer and I, we're not going to let you out of the room unless you give us a tip.
Alright, I reckon Amos by 21 points. I just have that feeling in there. I just feel that they can be on top of Torquay for the whole game. They might have a good start and just keep them at bay, and then Torquay will probably run out of time, and that's where the 3-goal win will get. What do you think, Josh?
It's hard to look past Amos. Been there and done that, so I'm not just saying that because Ben's sitting there. So I reckon they're, you just can't get out that experience, I reckon.
And Wes?
Good work again, boys. I think Amos are the team to beat, yeah, for sure. Thanks very much for your time again. Thanks, Ben Levance, for joining us at late notice. This has been the Geelong Regional Footy Show. We hope you've enjoyed it. Be sure to be watching next week.
We come together, the best from all the league, to show them how to play and form a mighty team. The pride of our region with all our favourite sons, never ever beaten, Australia's number 1. We'll get the goals, boys, right from the jump, if we use some handball and never shirk a bump. So give it all your best as we answer to the call.